Hi, this is Kane Hodder, better known as Jason from Friday the 13th. You are listening to the Don't Go Out There horror movie review podcast. I'd like you to listen to it. And also, if you happen to review me poorly or any of my films, well, I will kill you.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Review Podcast. Just want to thank all our fans and listeners. We really appreciate the support. Before we get into tonight's film review, I just want to shout out our social media. Go give us a follow. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just add Don't Go Out There. You'll find us. And a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. You can find all of our episodes, interviews with all the actors and actresses, our store, and all of our intros from the celebrities, which is really cool. Go give that check it out. And before we get into tonight's film review, I just want to give a quick shout out to a fan named Shan. Really hooked all the hosts up this week with an awesome gift. We really appreciate it. And we really appreciate your support because you always stay on our social media. You stay on top of us and give us your opinion. I really appreciate that, Shan. Tonight is Brother Dustin's film review. And if y'all have been waiting for an episode with some fireworks, this is going to be the one. That's right. Dustin's drinking some water. He's getting prepared for this one. Tonight's film review is 1989's Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Dustin, go ahead and give us your general overview.
You ever made a decision in life, and it could be anything, and then just instantly regretted it? Yeah, okay. So, listen, I got to be honest with you. You guys that have been listening have heard me defend this movie to a certain extent from the time I joined the show. And we're talking all the way back to my first guest appearance when we ranked the Friday the 13th movies. I had this one higher than anyone but Nico, and I defended it, and I was ready to die on that hill. Okay? Well, life comes at you fast because I rewatched this movie a couple times this week, and, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't enjoy it because I can still watch this movie and not hate it, but when you're breaking it down from a scene-by-scene standpoint and nitpicking it and finding things you hate,
yep.
Boy, does this movie have a lot of shit I hate. And I want to say to all of our listeners, if you're unfamiliar with the movie, it's not available to stream on anywhere. You can rent it for like $3.99. But also, I want to say that this movie is airing on Sci-Fi on September 2nd, which is Wednesday morning at 4 a.m. So 4 a.m. Yeah, that's it. 4 a.m. is a bad time slot for a bad movie. But set your DVRs, watch this movie on Sci-Fi because you might miss a little brief nudity, but other than that, you're not going to miss much that's going to take away from it. Watch it to accompany this episode of Don't Go Out There because it's going to make you appreciate how much we all defecate upon this movie. But I will say, there are worse horror movies out there. There are worse movies in this franchise out there, at least one. And you know, this is going to be one of those episodes where, to quote R. Kelly, I'm fighting for my fucking life, but that's okay. I'm going to shit on the movie and then rank it ridiculously high just to offset my So let's go.
You could use that space on your DVR to record some softcore porn, so use it instead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike. Give us your general overview. I'll go after you.
Oh, what can I say about this movie that I haven't already said about Freddy's Dead? This movie is a shit sandwich. It sucks. There's nothing redeeming about this film minus one kill. I think we all know the kill. Everything else is completely awful. There's not a damn thing that I like about this movie. Not a single thing. It's the worst movie that we've had to watch that I had to review so far, and that includes Audition.
Oh my God.
I would pop in Audition any day over this film. I think it's one of the worst horror movies I've ever watched.
This seems dramatic.
It's definitely the worst. No, I'm serious. It's the worst. It's the worst slasher movie I've ever seen, hands down. I would rather watch Terrifier over and over.
Oh, Jesus.
I would rather. the only movie that's worse than this to me is Freddy's Dead. So
Okay.
it is, and Halloween 5. Those are the three down there at the
jeez.
bottom of the barrel.
We're just
So
gonna skip right over Season of the Witch. Okay.
I would rather watch Season of the Witch any day of the week than this piece of shit.
Oh,
This
God.
movie stinks. It doesn't do anything well. It's actually, it should be Jason Takes a Boat Ride, which I've said on this show before. They're about 15 minutes
save
of the
that.
movie.
Save that. We had a fan question about that.
Okay. Well, I think I just answered it. About 10 minutes of this movie actually takes place in Manhattan. Now, I'm gonna contradict myself a little bit. There are two things that I do like about this movie. Two things. One, there's a kill. I'll save it. Two is the iconic shot of Jason Voorhees in Manhattan. That's hard to beat. That's a cool shot. Everything else about this movie stinks to high heaven, and I'm sorry if there are any fans of this movie, but you are not going to like what I have to say. You probably already have it. So
Yeah, you're
Okay.
damn right.
You can follow that one, Nico.
Yeah, I will. That's fine. I mean, when we ranked this franchise, I re-listened to our rankings today, and I think I had it 5th. And honestly, I would probably drop it down one spot after this review, but this movie has a lot that you would have to suspend a lot of belief on, and there is a lot, like Dustin said, that is shit. But I can't remember what review it was, but one of us said you can absolutely think a movie stinks, but really, really enjoy it. And this is probably that movie for me. Because trust me, I like this movie, and I'm going to crap on it a lot because there's a lot of ridiculousness in it. But I think even though he is on the boat a lot, I think there's some decent kills on the boat. I love seeing Jason on a subway in Times Square. Love it. It's different. I said that in our rankings. This movie's different. It's not another Camp Crystal Lake movie, which I don't hate, but I like a little variety sometimes. But like I said, I'm going to be objective. I got a lot I don't like, but I still find this movie somewhat enjoyable. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I think I slotted this second to last in my rankings, like right ahead of Jason X. So obviously I don't like this movie at all either. When I was in middle school and would watch the Paramount marathons, I distinctly remember everyone always making fun of this one and laughing more than anything. Now, do I blame anyone who likes this movie? No, because like we've said, we all have movies we can say, okay, I admit this is a shit show of a movie, but I like it. And as long as that's you, I totally get that. I have a lot of those myself, but if you think it's a good movie, I'm gonna immensely disagree with you on that one.
yes.
You know, hell, Paramount decided to dump the franchise after this one, and I'm not real sure New Line did much better with it afterwards. But it's the lowest grossing Friday the 13th film in this entire franchise, and for God's sakes, they even put Jason on Arsenio Hall for the promotion of this piece of shit. But look, I don't want to see Jason in Manhattan. I don't want to see Jason in space. Nor honestly hopping bodies as much as I kind of like that movie. Hell, bringing him to Elm Street was pushing it. It was a little cool. I liked it. I said that in our review, but he's not Jason if he's not in the woods to me. However, I do also understand the behind the scenes budget issues, that movie had to deal with. And, it's not what they really wanted to do. Although I don't think that would have been much better, to be honest, because I think I don't like him in New York. So that's just me personally. And I do get franchise fatigue and Paramount wanting to try to do something different as well. But, I think Adam Marcus referring to this movie on our show, which you can hear on don'tgoouthere.com, as Jason Takes a Boat Ride, is just what Mike just said. That's pretty damn accurate. And I'll just leave it at that.
You can also hear the man who played Jason Voorhees, Kane Hodder, in the archives. Kane, I apologize.
And don't forget what he said in his intro, though.
Yeah.
If you hate on any of my movies, I will find you and kill you.
Which is attached to this episode.
Uh-oh.
Kane, I sincerely apologize. It's not your fault.
Lake Wales, Florida. Lake Wales.
I don't know the only one that knows my address is Brian. So there.
All right, y'all ready to jump into the scene by scene?
Yeah.
All right, Dustin, are you prepared for this?
Let's do it. Let's get it over with.
Dustin is Willie Taggart, and everyone else's opinion is 2018 Clemson, I think.
Yeah, not
That's
great, Bob.
That's a Florida State reference, guys. All right. The film starts with narration and overhead shots of the city, opening credits with a groovy tune as we briefly intro the characters and the scenery that'll be shown later. Now we're at Camp Crystal Lake. Jim and Susie are on a boat making out, and then Jim throws the anchor over the side. Susie asks him what's wrong, and he talks about Jason's story. And we see the anchor get caught on an electric cable on the bottom, and it electrocutes Jason, and it brings him back to life. The lights go out of the camp, and Jim goes to check out what the noise was. He jump scares Susie with a hockey mask on, with the axe cut that I know Brian loves, and a retractable and a retractable knife. They get back in bed, then Susie sees Jason as they kiss. He kills Jim with the spear gun, and Susie, she escapes through the window. She hides in a storage compartment in the front of the boat, but Jason finds her. And I really kind of like the kill where he opens it up and he like just slowly stabs a spear into her and it kills her. Now we meet Rennie and Colleen. They get to the cruise ship. Colleen gives Rennie a present, a pen used by Stephen King. She's the best student she ever had. Now we see the boat from Camp Crystal Lake get to the harbor, because I guess Camp Crystal Lake connects to the Atlantic Ocean now. Charles, Dustin, this is not going to be good, brother. Charles is mad. Charles is mad Colleen is late. 2 kids didn't check in. He doesn't seem thrilled that Rennie is joining. He says he knows what's best for her. The captain, he gives his son Sean a gift, but he's pissed that Sean doesn't remember all the steps before they set sail. We see Jason grab a rope that's hanging off the boat. In the boat, Lazarus takes off. All the kids, they play games, dance. They all have a good time. Sean gives Rennie a present, a Statue of Liberty necklace. Charles tells Sean that his dad is looking for him. Now Wayne, he's recording JJ. She's a girl. She plays guitar. She's shredding her guitar. She asks him to go downstairs to record, but he's got to go help Tamara first. She heads downstairs of the boat. Charles says it's not too late to get Rennie back to shore. Rennie says she doesn't even know what she's afraid of, and she's staying. JJ turns her camera on and starts to jam. We see Jason approach her from underneath from the stairs. She screams when she sees him and runs away, but Jason appears in front of her, killing her with the guitar. The deckhand hears the screams at the top of the boat. All right, y'all, that's the first 2 scenes I got. Y'all go ahead and get ready to defecate upon some of that stuff.
Yeah, let me go ahead and defend it. No, I'm just kidding. So I really like the song choice for the opening credits because it's very 1989. I mean, you want to talk about setting the tone for the time frame. That song does it. However, the narration is kind of weird. Like, why the hell do we have to instantly know about how much this guy loves New York City and all the shit that goes on in it because we don't get reintroduced to New York City for over an hour later? So that part kind of sucked. And the opening credits were just too long that we didn't need them to be drug out that long. The mask and the fake kill of Susie when he jumps out with the exact replica of Jason's actual mask, that part could have been avoided because he's the one that explained the lore of Jason Voorhees to her, but she didn't know he wore a hockey mask, let alone an exact replica. Like, that part was stupid to me. You could have just had a goalie mask or like a modern goalie mask, and she would have been none the wiser. And also, we didn't need that. Like, what kind of dick are you walking around in your tighty whities and fake stab your girlfriend? But I'm glad that I got to go first in this portion because I just want to go ahead and say, Remy, call me sometime. And sorry, Mike.
That's copyright infringement. Bullshit. Lawsuit on your hands, pal.
Hey, see my lawyers. The thing about the boat scene, once we get introduced to all the kids, other than Remy, because you could tell there's something special with her there, and I know that, originally the plan was to have Laura Park Lincoln reprise her role of Tina in this film. Who knows how that would have gone, but budgetary constraints nixed her from the role because she actually wanted more money for Part 8 than she got in Part 7. So who knows how that would have gone. That might have tied into Manhattan somehow. But other than Rennie, there's not really any character that I care about. You can tell that, the captain and his son, you can tell there's going to be something there, but to me, it doesn't really pay off like it could. So other than Rennie, there's not any characters I really care about. And I especially don't care about JJ and her damn guitar. God, that got on my last nerve. The next thing, how did Jason learn to teleport like he did? That's a recurring theme in this movie. Like he's the fastest kid alive, to quote Superbad, because you look up one way, he's right in front of you. You turn around, and oh, there he is again. That's a recurring theme.
I read in the fun fact, I'll spoil it now, the director wrote Jason to be not just a dead creature. He's like more spiritual or something like that. I got the fun fact, but go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that goes into the later with the hallucinations that's in the next group of scenes. But are they really hallucinations? But to touch on your point about the stab, okay, the first two kills, I know I kind of missed this earlier. I jumped ahead to where JJ's playing her guitar and the kid's on the boat. But to go back to the original two kills, I laugh every damn time he misses with the spear gun because it's so anticlimactic. It's like, oh, he's going to shoot her in the face, and he misses. And every single time it makes me laugh. So I actually appreciate that part because, he's like, I missed you with the gun. I'm just going to stab the whole gun through your stomach. And then you're going to go run. I'm going to stab you as slow as possible. You're going to have an eternity to think about this death before it happens. And that part cracks me up, too. Like, I don't know why he would stab her so slowly, but yes. It makes me laugh, and I applaud them for that because it would have been very typical to just stab her quickly and get it over with. I like how drawn out it was. The last thing is going ahead to the end of these scenes. The guitar kill was satisfying to me just because of how on my nerves JJ was with her damn guitar. She went below deck. Oh, this is a perfect place to record. He's missing out. And then he just smacks her in the face with the guitar and kills her. And the way that it was shot from like a first-person point of view to where you just see the guitar coming at you. Then there's a blood splatter. I can appreciate the way that was shot. So overall, not a great opening scene or two. Not great, Bob. But not terrible, like I know Mike is going to make it seem to be, and Brian too. So go ahead.
Oh, jeez, man. You know what? There's no faith. I'm about to show you why. All right, so listen, I'll give the movie props. Look at me, right off the bat, I'm giving the movie props for at least trying to keep with the series continuity. I mean, they did a terrible job of it, but they at least tried and resurrected him, not just had him for some reason be back alive after the last movie. First off, when Jim's telling the story of Jason, he says 30 years ago. And yeah, maybe that's right in real time, but don't forget Part 7, for some ungodly, stupid-ass reason, decided to set their movie in like 2000, even though there's 80s cars they're driving, which, so this is supposed to be set a little after the year 2000, which would make it well over like 40-plus years since he drowned, but okay. And like Nico alluded to, this is my little rant about this mask. This bothers me more than anything, and it bothers me because I love the character of Jason. So when they do stupid shit, it pisses me off. Up until now, you can debate it some. It wasn't perfect, but it at least had, up until, Jason supposedly had the same hockey mask. It just kept accumulating damage. And like I said, they messed the damage up some, and it was way too big in 6, but at least they tried. I'm perfectly fine with him getting a new mask since his last one was destroyed. Continuity, I'm a fan. But why the fuck does it have the axe slash in it from Part 4? It makes no sense at all to be there, and it shouldn't be there. Also, his best look was 7, so I don't understand why you don't just change that up a little bit or shit, just reuse the same exact stuff. He looks weird in this one and just honestly slimy or just not correct. I don't know. The Susie kill makes me laugh. The same reason Dustin just said, because Jason is just so damn slow down with that spear gun. And both of these kills, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. But again, like we said in the opening, the budget was super low. And I know it had, a lot had to get cut from the original script. And Dustin kind of alluded to this a little bit. We had Lara Park Lincoln on the show, the final girl from Part 7. You can listen to that on don'tgoouthere.com. And you can listen to her kind of talk about why she didn't return from this film and, a script she wrote for this film that was rejected. But the sad part is, they still kind of give Rennie her character traits. So you can tell she's meant to be her. Thank you for coming on the show and everything, but I'm just not a fan of her powers. So I'm kind of glad they didn't bring her back for this with those powers. The movie ended up being a shit show anyway, but, you can actually point to, Amy Steele's Jenny from Part 2, John Shepard's Tommy in Part 5, Kimberly Beck, Tommy's sister from Part 4, and of course Lara Park for not returning to the series pretty much as soon as they asked for a raise. So Paramount is definitely not about writing those checks and spending that money. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of not spending money, there was another blah death with JJ, who for some reason wears her damn onstage leather wear literally everywhere she goes apparently, and looks like Bret the Hitman Hart's attire when he goes out to the ring. But she
Yes, it does.
she just jams out by herself, but not in her room. It was really bizarre there to me. Lastly, all in all, the opening here to me is fine. It still feels Friday the 13th ish enough here. It just would have been cool to maybe see some of this shit at night. Having Jason climbing up the side of a boat just looks fucking really weird in broad daylight. And they could have just had this maybe like be like a lock-in, was kind of like back in the day when I was younger, where you're like dropped off for like 24 hours overnight thing, like skating rink or whatever. They could have had like an overnight cruise and almost had it be like you try to survive Jason for the night type thing and not try to go to New York. I don't know. I'm trying to fix the movie early. I got a long road ahead of me.
I do want to say one thing before Mike goes. So, because you mentioned how slimy Jason looks, I actually applaud him for that, because think about this. He's been underwater for over a year at this point, and the way that his skin and his clothes, and he looks saturated this entire film. And think about that. If you've been underwater for a year, you're going to be pretty soggy. And I actually like that portion of it, but I get what you're saying about the mass continuity and all that, and Seven was a good look as well. But I didn't have a problem with his look, and I think it's because Kane sells it well as well, because his mannerisms as Jason are very much appreciated in my book.
Well, I mean, I think it bothers me that while he was under the water, he apparently changed clothes too, because he has more clothes and more skin and more everything. Like, I don't know why they didn't just stick with the same look, which is the best in the franchise.
Fair.
Seven was the best in the franchise to me, like looks wise.
Oh, okay. By the way, while you were listing off all those other parts to the Friday franchise, I wish that we were reviewing those instead of this. Okay, so let me start here. First of all, the opening credits are way too goddamn long. And I don't hate this song either, because it does kind of have like that 80s feel. And I know this is 89 or whatever, but you at least get that. So, okay, fine. I said something positive there. Are you guys happy? Everything else about this just grinds my fucking gears. The character of Rennie's fine, but Jason looks fucking stupid here. He's wet. It's just not a good look. He's got way too many clothes on. He's wet the entire film, which really it's just not a good look. It looks like shit. The mask looks like shit to me. Hold on, I'm not done. What?
Have you ever been in the water for a year straight?
I didn't
You're
say
going to be wet for a while.
I didn't say that the continuity was wrong. I said he looked like shit, and he does.
As someone would expect when they've been underwater for a year. Go ahead.
Anyway, to have Jason Voorhees climb up the side of a boat in the middle of the fucking day is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. It looks like Mad TV, like you know how like bad sketch comedy looks. It looked like an episode of Mad TV, so that was dog shit too. Man, I'm trying not to go over every little thing and shit on it, because you guys did a pretty good job. But the spear kill is funny. But I don't want to be laughing here, man. It's a fucking Jason movie, okay? It's a funny kill because he misses. I get that. And you're right. It's very slow, and it does make me giggle. So I will give it that. And I do like horror comedy, but I'm not trying to laugh in this movie. This movie wasn't supposed to do that, and yet it did. Let's see. The guitar kill. Not a good kill. And like you said, I just don't care about these characters. So when somebody dies, it either needs to be really cool, like a really cool kill, which comes later. Like, oh, okay, that's a badass kill. No matter what I think about this character, that's a really good way to act somebody off. We haven't seen that yet, man. So yeah, man, I don't know. You guys are a lot kinder than me, and I hate to just be so negative. Okay. But here we are on a boat, and I'm just not buying it. It's like he's on the Poseidon the way it looks. Like, it's just a weird fucking thing. And like I agree with Nico. I do like variety. So no matter how much I defend the Halloween franchise, I still shit on it for being the same fucking movie 6 times. Like that's like I understand that criticism, but just because it's different doesn't mean it's good. And so far, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I watched this movie on 1.5 speed on DVD. Yes, I own it. Don't ask me why. It's a fucking collection, and if I
Plus
could
you
throw
should.
that one away, I would. But I can't not have the movie in the collection. It's not how it works. So far, I'm pissed that I even had to watch this movie, and I'm pissed at Dustin. And if Dustin really wants to get mad, the Phillies just beat the Nationals 8-6. Suck it.
Oh,
Next scene, Nico.
Okay. I definitely hate you. But second of all, I want to say something before we go to the next set of scenes. You can't shit on. You can shit on whatever you want to, but I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. This movie has a lot of ironic kills. JJ's killed with her guitar. She loves the guitar. She's obsessed with her guitar. That's what kills her. Not to spoil some of the kills that we're getting into, but Tamara is a very vain person. She's killed with a mirror, something she's staring into a lot. Julius is a boxer. He's killed in a boxing match.
Great
You've
kill.
got the bartender is a bartender. He's thrown into the bar and killed. I appreciate the irony in some of these kills. That didn't go unnoticed. That didn't go unappreciated by me, even though it did by you Neanderthal.
It's not
was
that
it was it
irony?
or was it lack of imagination?
Right. Thank you, Brian.
Okay.
And by the way, it's not that
You're
I
right.
didn't think that it was ironic. It just wasn't done well. They weren't shot well. The kills weren't cool. There was not but one kill where I went, oh, fuck, that was awesome.
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
if you're going to be a bad slasher, throw me a good kill. Like, at least Terrifier saws a woman down the middle. Come on, man.
If he had a William Shatner mask and a butcher knife, he'd have been so much better. Go ahead.
No, Halloween 5 sucks a bag of donkey dicks, man.
Oh boy, my blood pressure's raised. Let's go, Nico.
Go Phillies.
I hate the Phillies. Oh god.
Wow. I expected this, though. Rennie asks the dog, Toby, if it's time for personal experiences to fuel her mind. Jason creeps to the boat and looks into Rennie's room. Oh, God. Rennie hears a voice and turns to the window. She approaches and sees a little boy drowning and calls for help. Toby runs out. Now we meet Julius and another guy boxing. Tamara and Eva watch from above. Julius takes advantage when the other guy gets distracted by Tamara. They both think Julius is hot. The two girls line up some coke to snort, but Eva is really nervous. Rennie walks up asking about her dog. Charles walks in the room and the two girls freak out. Are you using drugs? He tells Tamara she'll be stuck on the boat while her classmates enjoy the sights. The other boxer goes into the sauna to relax, and Jason walks in, but the guy thinks it's Julius because he has his towel over his face. Jason grabs one of the steam rocks and shoves it into his gut, and it kills him, and it lights him on fire. I think that's, spoiler alert, favorite kill. Rennie and Colleen walk and talk, and then Tamara knocks her into the water after Tamara says that earlier that Rennie is afraid of the water. Excuse me. We see Rennie getting pulled underwater by a little boy panicking. Sean jumps in the water to save her. Eva ditches Tamara for the night. They get Rennie back on board. She tells Colleen that she can't swim. Charles gets pissed when he sees her. He tells Sean and Colleen to stay away. The deckhand says he's come back and you're gonna die. Rennie goes to the bathroom and the water is blood, and young Jason reaches through the mirror to choke her. Help me. Charles walks into Tamara's room. He wants her project. She's in a robe and offers him champagne. She takes off her robe and shows her biology product. She kisses him and gets on top of him. Wayne videos it as he pushes her off of him. He's pissed but finds out he's been recorded. She hides the tape in her robe. You're going to be sorry, is what Charles tells her. Wayne tries the sauce on Tamara, but she kicks him out of the room, and Wayne walks off. Real sad boy hours. Tamara gets out of the shower, and we see Jason open a door. She opens the door and sees him, but closes it quickly. Jason grabs her. He punches through the door and grabs her, and then he pushes her, and she runs into the mirror, and it breaks and falls to the ground. Jason goes in and grabs a piece of glass and kills her as she cries, no, no. And I like that kill a lot, too. Well, that's the next two scenes I got.
All right, so right off the rip, these hallucinations or whatever they are confusing. There's no real explanation to them, which we get it a little bit later, but we're just kind of thrown into this, okay, is she hallucinating? Is this really happening? What's happening? And then what makes it even more confusing is the damn dog can see them. Like, if she's just scared out of her mind and she's having these visions, then okay, that makes sense. But the fact that her dog saw them, to me, when you're watching this, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Whatever. I've never seen a rock be able to catch fire in someone's insides like that, but it's kind of cool. Cool visual. I'm okay with it. Tamara's attempted murder. Like, you're just gonna push her in the water, when you know she's terrified of it, and you're on a school trip. You're just gonna, you're the prom queen. You said that earlier, or you actually says a little bit later when they're doing the blow. But you're just gonna risk it all to try to kill a bitch on a cruise ship. What are you doing? That's not smart. Why is the deckhand so creepy? He really, he's a callback to Crazy Ralph and even the graveyard keeper in part 6.
Right.
I can't think of his name. So he's a callback to those characters, but why is he so creepy? That part could have done, we could have done without that, because we as the audience know it's Jason doing this, and he's not believable enough. He's not creepy enough, in my opinion, to be believable that he's the one doing these murders. But also, he's too creepy to be not believable, to be just instantly marked innocent. So that's just a character that I thought sucked all the way around. Tamara, this girl's crazy.
Just another.
Hey, shut up. Tamara, this girl's crazy. Like, you're gonna try to blackmail the teacher. Like, that's nuts behavior right there. I applaud her efforts in, trying to make sure she don't have to do her homework, because that's above and beyond behavior that I've never put forth. But my God, that's a little bit far. And because you're talking about being a registered sex offender, you're trying to seduce a teacher like that. That's a ballsy move just to get out of the homework. And then, like I said earlier, I thought Tamara's kill was very well done because of the irony involved. You can say that it's lazy or whatever, but to me, a lazy kill for her would just been to, when he reaches through the door, cut her throat or something, have a machete, because that's Jason's MO typically. But the fact that he's going to go over and punch the mirror and stab her with it, and then when her body's found later on, she's looking at herself in the mirror from the camera angle we get, I thought this was very well done. And I thought that her death was some of the best acting in the film, because the way she's screaming and crying truly sells the fact that she is scared shitless right now. And you can shit on a lot of things about this movie. That's fine. I'm doing the same. But her acting in that scene is something you can't shit on. That's well done. Shout out to her. But that's all I got on these scenes.
Yeah, so also that's supposed to be Stephen King's pen, right? So that's way more ironic when you know that that's supposed to be Tina Shepard's character. So you would have had a ripoff of Carrie with a Stephen King pen. Super subtle there, writers. But also seeing the young Jason there makes more sense with Tina. It still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense or go with her powers, but at least makes a little bit more sense with it being written as Tina, and old Uncle Dipshit basically being a flashback of Dr. Dipshit Cruz from the last one. So if you know that, I mean, going into that, if you know that a little bit, it at least explains a little bit of the craziness. Also, so why are we getting the slow progression of Jason as a kid, by the way? It's showing him as a perfectly fine, not deformed kid, as it was pretty established through literally every movie that he was deformed, hairless child. So I don't know what the fuck this whole thing is. The Son of Death, I thought was actually really good. Like Nico kind of said, it's maybe my favorite non-funny kill in this. Stay tuned. But they obviously spent all the effects budget on that one, I guess. And kind of spoke to it a little bit earlier, but Kane is just really fucking violent here and full of like rage, and I love that. I really love that in my Jason there, especially with Kane's performance. That rage carries over to Tamara's death too, which Charlene Martin, she earned a good death. Obviously, she played a bitch just very well, and she even got naked for the scene, and we get off-screen death. The punch to the mirror was more violent than the death we got. Also, fun fact, Martin initially expressed a lot of discomfort at being filmed nude, and to make her feel better, the director apparently stripped down naked and walked into the shower himself to express how easy it was. So something tells me that wouldn't fly today, just off the cuff. Funny
thing about that though is the cameras were actually rolling for that, and he didn't know. Right. So the production crew was like, "Why is he naked in the shower?" So That's a funny fun fact as well.
Yeah, and probably sexual offender status. All in all, another decent set of scenes here. So I don't hate the movie yet completely. Pacing is decent. There's lots of deaths. All they're the shitty deaths. I mean, at least you're knocking them out and not really dragging it on, and you're kind of giving the fan base what they want there. So
Okay, so I'll give the movie a little bit of credit. Okay, I'll be kind. I will give it credit for not necessarily Carnage Candy in the way that the kills are good, but like Brian said, at least you're watching a Friday the 13th movie. You're getting a lot of kills. Sometimes I can remove the fact that we're on a boat here and just try to enjoy the fact that we're getting just your stock typical splasher. So I like those. So I will give them a little bit of credit here. Man, this little boy Jason stuff just takes me completely out of the movie, though. Like, I don't give a flying fuck about it. And I could see the character of Tina, if this was the original role, I could see that being a little bit more linked. The telepathic nature of all that stuff, I could see that. That makes a little more sense. But how it ends up paying off, I'm not a fan of. And there's just a bunch. So this set of scenes just has a bunch of stock kills to me. And I will say this: I'm not knocking the sauna death so much, because, like you guys said, the effects are good on it for what it is. So I will give them a little bit of credit again there. I'm trying to be kinder here, not shit on absolutely everything. And Dustin, damn it, you were right about one thing.
Yeah, let's go.
The acting of the actress who played Tamara right there, when she is killed, it is well done. And like Brian said, she did earn the death. She was a bitch. Like, I am fine with all of that. So this is probably the best set of scenes in this movie to me, because after this, a lot of stuff happens to people that I don't care about, and they try to make me care about it, and it bugs me. This set of scenes has some decent-ish kills, I will say, for this movie anyway. And I'm trying to be kind. Look, I'm not going to lie. I am bored to death of this movie already. Like, I am just bored. I'm sorry. But to be nice, I will say, Kane Hodder, well done as Jason in this movie. I think he stepped his game up from part 7 with this portrayal. He's mean. He's violent, like Brian said. And so I'm a fan of the Kane Hodder Jason, just in general. So I think he does a good job here. And then every now and then I remember that, I'm on a fucking cruise ship. So
I don't get your hang up on that. I guess because it goes against.
how do we get from
Takes
Crystal
Manhattan.
Lake to the Atlantic Ocean?
Okay, but why is that such a hang up? Like, they're doing something different. How do we get from Crystal Lake to fucking outer space?
Okay, I'll say, well, I didn't say that I liked that movie was in outer space. Let's clear this up. And 2, if you're going to put it on a boat, say it in the title. Say it's on a boat. Say, Jason takes
How
the
else
boat.
is he going to get to Manhattan?
Just show
Airplane?
up.
That makes less
He
sense.
teleports everywhere on this fucking boat. Might as well teleport his ass to New York City.
Oh, God.
Hey Dustin, how does Michael Myers get from Haddonfield to California?
Hey, I
That is
asked
a
the same
great
question.
point.
He
But I don't-
drives
Probably
all
drives.
the way there.
Hey,
Yeah.
guess what? Michael Myers can drive. Jason Voorhees is dead. He can't drive.
He learned how to drive as a little kid inside of a mental hospital somehow.
See, you're going back. I will admit plot holes in the
No,
Myers.
no,
Y'all were
no,
standing for no reason.
No, well, I said in
No.
my notes, somehow it gets from the Atlantic Ocean into
Yes.
Crystal Lake.
Terrible.
And Mike, I agree with, or I guess I agree with all of y'all. I said, in our rankings, I hate how she sees little Jason telling me. It's so stupid.
It's really dumb. But one more quick credit to Dustin. Re-seeing the mirror kill in my head, it's good. As far as this movie goes. Now, I still don't like it, but as far as this movie goes, it's probably my second favorite kill.
Okay.
Making notes, insert Step Brothers, I'm on a boat song here.
Yeah, Hey, they should have put his ass in the music video for Boats and Hoes. He's
Yeah, I
on a
just find
boat
it very.
with a bunch of hoes. Come on.
I just find it very convenient how you nitpick this one, but you're willing to forgive Michael. Anyway, go ahead.
I do not forgive Michael Myers.
You're not this critical. Go ahead, Nico.
Oh, have
Alright.
you ever heard me talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Have you? All right, let's go.
That's different. That's a double shot at me.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the point here. Anyway, please, Nico, scene by scene.
All right. Skirt. Back to it. The captain and the engineer, they talk about the storm they're in, and we see Jason. He grabs a spear off the wall. The captain walks out real quick, and then Jason sneaks behind the engineer and impales him through the midsection. And Dead Meat James pointed this out, and I'm just gonna give him credit because I agree. I like the way they shoot this kill. That's like outside of the window. I like that. The captain returns and sees him dead, and then Jason is behind him and slices his throat open from behind in slow motion. Sean and Rennie find his dead father. He announces over the intercom it's an emergency and for everyone to meet up. Sean tries the radio for help, but Jason rips off. He destroys the radio wires. The deckhand appears and says Jason Voorhees is back. He came down the river and he's on board. Julia says let's go find Jason before he finds us. Eva looks for Tamara after the announcement. She finds her dead body and then runs from Jason. She gets to the dance floor, but Jason barges in after her. He grabs her by the throat and chokes her to death and then tosses her like a rag doll. The guys all get weapons and hunt for Jason. Wayne goes down to where JJ was, and then steam from a pipe hits him in the face, knocking his glasses off. He sees a dead body through his camera. It's just a deckhand guy. He sees a dead body through his camera lens, and then feet appear. Jason knocks the camera out of his hand, and he runs off. He trips beside JJ's dead body. Jason grabs him and throws him into an electric panel, electrocuting him. Charles says Rennie is locked in her room. Sean is trying to get the boat back on track. Jason punches the fire alarm. Charles grabs a flare gun. Charles says the fire alarm just causes panic. Miles tries to hack Jason with an axe, but he whiffs. He runs and he climbs up a watchtower ladder, but Jason throws it. Here's more teleporting. Jason teleports up the ladder and then throws him off onto a weather vane, impaling him and killing him. And that's the next two scenes I got.
Yeah, so the captain's kill to me was kind of anticlimactic and lame. Now, the rest of that section I thought was awesome. The way that you said that Dead Meat James pointed out, I really enjoyed how that was filmed from the outside of that room. You got to see it through the rainy window with very low audio. You didn't hear the scream. You didn't hear the impact. I thought that was brilliant. And I actually enjoyed how the engineer or the captain's kill was in slow motion. That's fine. But the actual visual effects of the throat slice, it looked like he just barely touched him across the throat. And that wasn't realistic enough for me to believe. Also, in this film, Jason is a lot more elaborate and cerebral. He knows a lot of shit in this. Like when he kills the radio, it's like, Jason knows how to do that? Okay. I mean, that's fine. But Ava's kill, to me, was one of the more brutal ones because this was the first time in the series that he killed someone just by choking them out. Now, I'm not saying I enjoyed the kill, but it was something different. And how many times can you kill someone with a machete? You got to change it up. I give him credit for trying something new. It just showed his pure brutality and strength. No weapons, just choked her out. So I give him some credit, but I don't really care for it. It could have been more brutal, I guess. The electrical board kill, Jesus Christ. How many times have you ever been thrown onto something and it just instantly combusts like that? I mean, there's no... That was some WWE pyrotechnics right there.
Yes, it was.
Throws him onto a control board and it catches fire, burns him up, and then later, just explodes and burns out the whole power supply to the boat. Didn't really care for that one. And then, yeah, you touched on it. So he's climbing the ladder there. He looks back. Jason's still on the deck. He climbs a little bit more. He looks back. Jason's still on the deck. He takes one more step. Jason's grabbing him from behind. He is, I mean, that is a D1 athlete if I've ever seen one, to have that kind of strength, quickness, and agility to get up a ladder that quickly. Sign that man to a contract if you are looking for a defensive end, because my God. And then I did appreciate actually that kill, though, because when he threw him off the ladder, it actually provided for a pretty cool visual when his body's discovered and it's just kind of impaled on his side there. It's easy to do the impaling death where he's like stabbed through the stomach and he's hunched over. But for them to do it while he's on his side, I thought that was very well done. And one more thing from earlier in this set of scenes. I do want to give some some props to Julius, because for 7 movies, we've seen people kind of try to escape Jason and try to avoid Jason. And Julius is like, nah, let's get this motherfucker. That's a direct quote. He said, get this motherfucker. And he was told to watch his language. And I appreciate his gumption to take that initiative and like, let's find him before he finds us. Shout out to Julius. It doesn't pay off, but that's okay. I like the initiative.
Except literally every other Final Girl and Tommy Jarvis that have actually fought him and beat him. But okay.
Well, we're not
Thank you.
to the final. This is a group of people. Usually by that time it's like, okay, it's me or him. We're the last ones left. He's got a group of people. This is their best shot really to take him out, because you got what, 5, 6 guys. So that's some smarts right there that we don't see typically.
All right, so this group of scenes, I thought it was another weird, basically off-screen death with the engineer, which in literally any other one of the movies you would have actually seen that pole stick all the way through him, but instead you get this weird, like, arching your back thing with no scream. I mean, I do like the way it's shot, and I don't, because it was him not screaming. It was just almost like, it's not like it was a soundproof room, so it was just like this. I don't know. It was just, it was just kind of weirdly shot to me. I actually disagree with you, Dustin, about the neck slit. I thought the neck slit was really good. I think that there have been more blood there, but seeing it slit at that and then it just slowly open up, I thought was pretty realistic. Now, he sliced him with the wrong side of the machete, so it's the dull side. So it's ruined by that if you can't even get past that part. And like you said earlier, I understand that you're trying to make the deckhand like Crazy Ralph, but to me it didn't come across like that at all. I mean, it just came across as like a poorly crappy version of that. So I don't think that it was even good at playing homage to it. Like, I just thought that I agree with you on that. I really dislike that character. Also, another nitpick here. It's a great shot of Jason outside in the fucking torrential downpour with the rain, the lightning. It's all fucking great. And it's ruined by the fact that the boat is not even rocking whatsoever, even a little bit, and it's perfectly still, almost like the boat isn't really even moving. That seems like easy shit that you would have figured out shooting. I mean, just fucking move the camera around. I mean, they've been doing that in film since like the 40s. Since there was like, not even talkies back then. They were moving the camera around to simulate moving around. So, you can't have a storm in a lake or a fucking, I don't know what they're in the lake or the ocean at this point. Or, the super river that takes you from the lake to the ocean. I don't know. But, either way, it was a storm. It was a storm. The boat should have been moving. And I actually hate that Eva kill. I know Mike said he hates it as well. I hate it. So she ran into the dance floor, then suddenly stopped, just as she clearly scanned and looked at least 6 doors to escape out of, and didn't see, for some reason, Jason sneaking up on her in the middle of a clear room with a huge open dance floor. Okay.
Those doors were locked. She tried the doors. They were locked.
I must have missed the part where she's tried the doors. I must have missed that part. I must have zoned out for a second. But I did actually read that this was the first strangulation, like you said. And to me, I was like, what? Is that right? There's no way. There's no way. So, I mean, I actually learned something on that one, too. And you know what? Okay, here we go. I'm about to fix this movie real quick. This would have made this movie better, cheap, and completely different. I mean, Nico wouldn't have liked it, but I think everybody else would have. If you make this a found footage film with the footage shot from Wayne's camera. There you go, Paramount. I just saved your franchise, and you could have started the found footage genre a decade early. I think it would have been different, more scary. I think it would have been badass.
Go ahead, Mike. We'll just pretend Brian didn't say all that.
like I said, Nico won't like it, but he doesn't like Blair Witch either. So.
Hey, it might have helped. I don't know, man. I hate to, suck on the teeth of Brian here, but my man, that was not a terrible idea, brother. Oh, man. Okay. So, engineer kill. It was what it was. Another bad stock kill. Now, you guys are both right. I would have liked this next slice more had it been shot better to me B, he used the right side of the knife. So, or the right side of the machete. So, again, it's just little things like that that fuck this movie up for me. And I've said it before. To me, I know this is crazy as much as I've shit on this movie. There is a good movie within this movie somewhere. They're just not making it, and it's not the one I just watched a couple days ago. So it's just little shit like that that bugs me. And I know I'm supposed to suspend disbelief. Trust me, I like bad movies too. But this kind of stuff bugs me because I think it brings the character of Jason down. Just I'm not a fan. How the fuck does Jason even know to destroy the radio? Makes no sense to me. And okay, the Eva kill sucks because of everything Brian said. And I know we like variety in our kills. We've said that a million times. And some of the stuff that he does with the spear in this movie isn't terrible. But I really would have liked a really gory, gruesome kill here on the dance floor. We don't get that. It's brutal. I get it. But I almost feel like that's Jason's thing, is to just hack somebody up. And I know you like to be different, and that's fine. But I just fucking hated that kill. I thought it was a dud. It was lame. And I know nobody defended necessarily the kill, but giving credit for doing something different, I will too. I will give them credit for trying something different. But it just didn't hit with me. Wasn't a fan of that kill at all. And the stuff with the ladder, like you said, now you see me, now you don't type shit. Fucking John Cena out there on that ladder. Like, I don't get it. He's out there, Julius Peppers and that shit. Like you said, I don't know how. Okay. I know that Jason Voorhees is technically supposed to be dead, but man, how he's able to go from looks back, ladder, looks back, bam, or looks back, deck, and now he's right behind him. Just not a fan. So, I'll give them credit for knocking out a bunch of kills pretty consistently here, and we like that in the slasher. But again, you're killing off characters I don't care about, and most of these have been just duds. And a lot of Brian, I'm glad you said what you said about the boat, because that is a great shot of Jason Voorhees in the pouring down rain. I'm fine with that. See, I'm not fine with him being wet the whole movie, but I'm fine with him being wet when he's supposed to be wet. This would be included, except it's
So
on a still-ass boat, which means maybe they've docked the boat somewhere. I don't know. Maybe they got off, got fuel. I don't know how the fucking boat works. I don't know. I don't know how they're powered. Coal. Is this 1913? I don't fucking know, okay? But it's a still-ass boat, and it bugged me too. I was like, God damn it, at least move the camera around, move the boat around. I don't know. There has to be enough money for that. So I guess that's a nitpick, but when my biggest pet peeve with this movie is the fact that they found a river from Crystal Lake to Manhattan, I mean, it's kind of important to, if you're going to use the boat, use the goddamn boat, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna defend this movie on one instance. When y'all were talking about how he knew to mess the radio up. I mean, in part 4 and 6, he did cut the phone lines at the cabin, so I will defend that a little bit.
That's true.
That's true.
But then again, how would he know that those wires are for the radio? So I guess you can still make that point. But
he's a zombie at this point.
Yeah, but he was a human at some point, so maybe some of that carried over.
I mean,
we're having to really nitpick.
Was he really a human? He was a little kid. All right.
We're having to dig deep to defend this shit. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not.
I got a nitpick in this next scene. I don't know if y'all have it down too, but I noticed it this viewing. Julius is jumping around corners with the gun. He finds Miles' dead body, and then Jason throws Julius overboard. Rennie is in her room and sees young Jason. Then Jason grabs her by the throat through the window. She grabs the pen and stabs him in the eye. He walks off as he pulls the pen out. Charles walks through the kitchen, and we see that the deckhand has grabbed a big kitchen knife. The boat's taking on a lot of water. Water busts through the engine room, and Sean and Rennie escape up the stairs. Colleen lowered the lifeboat, and they see the deckhand fall to the ground. He's dead now, an axe to the back. They get into the lifeboat, and they see Jason above with the axe. They pull Julius into the boat, and they're all rowing. And this was my nitpick. I said, and none of them even look wet right now.
Yes.
Julius looks up, and he's, they're all kind of pissed and like, where are we? Are we ever going to make it to land? Julius looks up, and he sees the Statue of Liberty. They're all excited to see land. And good old Charles, he's bitching about where they docked the boat at. Just be happy that you made it. Jason emerges from the ocean and gives the head tilt when he sees the hockey billboard. Two drug dealers stop them at gunpoint. One snatches Rennie's necklace and shoots at Toby. They kidnap her and say they'll kill her if they follow. They split up. Sean finds the necklace. He throws the drug dealer, he throws Rennie on a dirty couch and drugs her. He's going to rape her. But Jason shows up and he grabs the guy's syringe and kills him. He stabs it through him, and it's kind of a cool visual. Rennie runs off, and the other drug dealer shoots Jason 6 times, but then he gets killed by getting his head rammed into a pipe. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, yeah. So these are the worst scenes in the movie, and to me, it's because this is where it drags. We're an hour into the film or so, and we're just now getting to where we're on the cusp of New York. You can forgive that, in my opinion, but how long it takes him. Anyway, all right. Let me start over. Start the scenes. It was a very lazy attempt by Jason to kill Julius. That's not his MO. He doesn't leave anything undone. Just to throw him off the boat, I thought that was shit. Then we go straight into more hallucinations. Stop. I mean, it made Jason coming through the window better because that was a jump scare. You're like, oh shit, is this a hallucination or is this the real thing? So I can appreciate that aspect, but God, I don't want like if I could rewrite this movie, if I could fix this movie, I'm taking all those hallucinations all the way out. Don't need them. They don't add anything of substance and value, except for later on when we find out that Charles is more of a dick than I thought. That rowboat ride, I mean, like I said, that's what absolutely drags. It sucks. Like you said, they don't even look wet when it's been raining and they're on the water. Whatever. Get out of here. I did find it hilarious, though, that as soon as they landed, they get robbed. Like, that. If you're wanting to paint New York like movies and television have painted New York for years, it's this. These characters are very much 1990 or 1988, 1989, whatever that year, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Yes. These guys that come up on them are very much so members of the Foot because they're just all about stealing and robbing and doing their own thing, and they're just a little bit more edgy because they try to drug and rape a girl, which I could do without. Don't need that either. And also, if you're going to drug someone with heroin, how in the hell does she have that much energy the rest of the film? Right. But because if there's one thing that anyone knows about heroin, you just watch Dave Chappelle stand up when he talks about all these sleepy white people. Turns out they're on heroin. That's what it is. I mean, that's just whatever. But yeah, the biggest takeaway though from this set of scenes is that Charles is the absolute worst guardian / uncle that anyone could ever ask for. What a dick. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is where the movie starts to take a turn for the worse for me, for sure. If it ended here, I'd chalk it away as just another entry in the franchise. And besides the lack of decent kills, it would have been fine. But this is where it stops trying to be a Friday movie to me and honestly becomes a joke. Also you get Julius popping out of nowhere because where the hell has he been swimming underwater this whole time? They couldn't have possibly seen him at all before now. Sure. So fuck that jump scare. I didn't really like that either. And first on the docket in the Big Apple, you get good guy Jason comes to save the day from the rapists who inject heroin in their victims, like you said. But, all right, so rape, that whole thing sucks, but, she wasn't putting up any fight at all, and you could have had Rennie be a little bit more realistic there because anybody would have been screaming and trying to get away a little bit more than that, and I just didn't think that was very, good acting. Obviously, when you get a shot of heroin, I get it after that, but before that, it was just a little bit toned down. And so if you're going to tone stuff, a serious thing like that down, I just take it out all the way. And, speaking of realistic, the needle goes all the way through the back of the guy's neck, torso, and out his chest, looking like a spandex sheet of skin. But nitpick aside, given the kills that we've gotten in this movie, I'll take it. Another goof here I noticed with the other mugger. He's shooting that 38 special like it's fucking Magnum with some huge kickback every time he shoots it. And then he clicks out of bullets, and when he's out of bullets, he still kicks it back. So, that's why I think even the moving the camera thing with the boat, like, this is bad directing. And, I think that budget or not, Like, you should catch shit like that if you're the director. You should try to get better. I don't say better. More extreme performances out of your actors and actresses, and I think that lays solely on this guy being so inexperienced. Other than the 2 episodes of the Friday the 13th, the series, which, by the way, I hated so much, but when I was a kid, but because it didn't have Jason in it at all, and they tried the whole John Carpenter Season of the Witch thing with it, but it's like I feel like that this movie might have benefited and at least gone up a little bit had you had a director that knew what he was doing. And I know that seems sharp or harsh, but that's how I feel about it.
Man, this set of scenes, when it starts, what the fuck is all of this? Like you said, Brian, this is the point where, as much as I've shit on this movie, and I have, even though I tried to, kind of nice it up some a little, it would have just been a stock Friday the 13th movie on a boat. Okay, fine. If this movie stops right here with the Julius death or whatever, Rennie's, like, had that have been the thing, and that's it, I might have enjoyed this movie a little bit more, because at least, okay, we know what we're getting. It's Jason Voorhees that kills a bunch of fucking people on a ship. That's fine. All of this other stuff is so unnecessary. The drugs, the raping, the kills aren't good. And like Dustin said, bravo to that. God, I can't believe I'm giving you credit. The way he attempts to kill Julius is bullshit. Jason Voorhees, that we know, would never fucking do that. And it bothered me there. And like you said, Brian, the way that they approach rape, and I know it's 1989, all of that stuff is bad. Take all of that completely out. I don't need her drugged. I don't need her raped. I don't need any of this stuff. And so it just, this whole set of scenes, look, I'm already lost in this movie, but if there's any set of scenes that just completely loses me, and by the way, we're an hour in when this shit starts. An hour in when all of this starts. This movie is way too goddamn long for what it is. And I just feel and by the way, what's crazy is, yeah, they're in New York now, but this whole thing should have been in New York, man. Like, I don't know. This set of scenes does absolutely nothing for me. And I hate to be so damn negative, but this is like the set of scenes. Again, there's 2 more positive things I have to say left. 2 more. Everything else I could just do without. And that includes, like, I didn't take a bunch of notes after this because I just don't care about them.
And to touch on what you said about the muggers being unnecessary, it's the same criticism I had for it when we did it. I talked about how Henry Bowers was unnecessary to me because we don't need that secondary storyline of villains.
Exactly.
Jason is a big enough villain to completely dominate the storylines of this movie, but instead we've got these guys, and then you tried to turn the deckhand into a questionable character earlier. So I have that same criticism. I get it. I've had the same criticism for other movies too. I'm not just being critical of this one. Obviously, I picked this one, but same thing. Don't need multiple villains.
Right. And to piggyback off of what you said there, this movie might be bumped up for me if it was just Jason in New York, not another side plot. I don't need a side plot with these muggers and drug dealers and all this stuff. Like, I mean, stereotypical New York. As soon as you get there, you get your ass beat. Like, that's kind of funny in a way, but I don't necessarily need this whole side story. Just give me Jason in New York City killing people. That's all that this movie required if we're going to do it. And they just, I don't know. All this other shit is just unnecessary.
Here's the probably the most famous, or one of the most famous scenes of this movie. Julius, he gets to a phone booth to try and call for help, but Jason attacks him in the phone booth. Julius climbs a ladder to a rooftop, and I wrote, this is the most memorable scene of the movie. Julius boxes Jason, punch after punch, and Kane Hodder, big shout out to him, takes all these punches. But Julius, he's exhausted and tells Jason, give me your best shot. Jason grabs him and punches his head smooth off, and it lands into a dumpster. Rennie wanders the alleys drugged. And I agree with you, Dustin. The drug things, I mean, you get one little glimpse of her with, like, blurry vision.
Yeah.
Rennie wanders the alley's drugged. Sean finds her and says Jason is here. All four, Charles and Colin, they unite with the police officer. Charles doesn't believe it about Jason. They get into the cop car and they see Julius's head in the car. Jason grabs the cop as he tries to call dispatch. Rennie drives the car and hits Jason. Then she drives the car she drives it into young Jason vision, but she hits the wall instead. And the car catches on fire and explodes and it kills Colleen. Rennie stares at the fire and then at a puddle on the ground. She relives when she and her Uncle Charles were out on the lake. He says she doesn't know how to swim and throws her into the lake, and he scares her saying Jason is still in the lake. She gets pulled under by a young Jason. Rennie gets up and is pissed about being pushed into the lake. He was down there. And now this is where Sean and Rennie, they abandon Charles, and then Jason approaches him. He runs off into a building to the second story, but Jason teleports up there and throws him out the window. He drowns Charles in a burn barrel full of disgusting, nasty green water. And the next two scenes I have are the ending. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of notes on this group of scenes. Man, I've said this to you guys before. If you're talking about just a pure visual standpoint, I think Jason in a city setting provides some of the best optics in the franchise. You and I both right now, Nico, have the scene of Jason in Times Square as our background on this call, and that's awesome. I like Jason.
I agree.
Take him out of the element. He's not in the woods. He's not in cabins. He's in these buildings. He's on rooftops. I appreciate that aspect of it. However, the writing, which, and I 100% chalk the failures of this movie up to budgetary constraints. I do. But that being said, the boxing scene to me was awesome because they did a good job. This is where they did it right as far as character development early in the film, showing Julius be this badass, and then the girls on the roof saying he's undefeated, he's never been beaten boxing, whatever. He knocks out the other guy, and then here we go. Fast forward, it all comes full circle. He's the one that wanted to go look for Jason earlier. Well, now he's got his chance, and he's really laying him in there. Jason hits him with the rope-a-dope. He lets him, he pulls a straight Muhammad Ali on him. He lets him wear himself out with all these haymakers that he's throwing. And then when he's tired and wore out, like you said, he punched his head smooth off. That was one hell of a right hook. Some teleportation continuity straight bullshit that happens is when they're in the cop car.
Yes.
And he pulls the cop out to the left of the car down an alley, right? And then Rennie jumps in the driver's seat, and Jason is about 50 feet behind the cop car. What? Like, he pulled him directly left of the cop car. And then next thing you know, you look up and he's behind you. That's why? The next thing that I got is I didn't mind Charles dying. I was actually kind of satisfied because what a dick. I don't like that we're 15 minutes from the end of the movie, roughly, and we're just now getting the payoff of the storyline with the hallucinations, why she sees the visions, how she was scared by Jason's thought of being in the water, why she's afraid of water to this day. We're just now getting that. That payoff came way too late for my taste because the whole movie I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, why are we having these hallucinations? And now we see why when it's not really going to matter too much anymore. And then, Charles's death, he gets dunked into a 50-gallon barrel of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ooze. And
Yes,
I was
yes.
expecting him to come back in the finale as the Super Shredder because what the hell is that about? I don't like. That's very stereotypical 80s New York to me as well. Just all the toxic waste that's supposedly laying everywhere.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't go to New York in the 80s. Maybe that's how it was, but it just doesn't seem believable in 2020. So I could have done without that as well.
I've got the same shit.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
them
it's
being
definitely-
drowned in a barrel. Actually, I want to retract and say that. I'm fine with him being drowned in a barrel because I'm sure there are hobo barrels that are full of water in a rainstorm. But
course.
for the water to be that green ooze, toxic waste looking shit, could have done without that part.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Nickelodeon set out here.
I got the same shit
Yeah.
written down, but it's on the next set of scenes where I was talking about the Ninja Turtles. So, yeah, all over this one. But this is a scene I was talking about at the beginning during my prologue, I guess, when I said we used to watch this movie in middle school. Shout out Nelson Knowles at Matt Knowles at Susan Johnson's house. But we used to laugh our ass off at this scene, where the whole Julius boxing scene, because this to me rivals the Jason X sleeping bag kill as one of the funniest of all of them in the franchise. You see this, Michael Myers? This is how Resurrection should have ended. Trick or treat, mother, what? Shit. I mean, poor Julius just wanted to get ahead in life. Sorry.
Significantly better film than Jason Takes Manhattan.
I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better.
No, I like that pun. I like that.
But
that's a significantly better film than Jason Takes Manhattan. Please continue.
oh my God. Okay. Anyway, all right, off track. But as I gave the headless scene, and I believe it was Cabin in the Woods, all that love. This one looks visually terrible, and at least we got the dumpster closing as it hit, because of course we did. But the other scene I was talking about in this movie that was hilarious that we used to watch, we used to go, hey, watch this, him run into the building and then not 2 seconds later thrown out like a top floor window. It was that was truly funny to me when I was a kid. And I'm not even going to discuss Jason's teleporting and going into the dumpster and grabbing the head and then setting it up on the police car, because that's kind of a Myers and Jason trope that I don't think needs to be realistic. But for God's sakes, I draw the line at a police car with no cage at all that you can just climb over the seats in New York. And lastly, like that whole young Jason and young Rennie thing. So kid Jason just like chilled under the water waiting for people to get in and then drug them under. Was this in between the time between part 1 and 2 where he grew up 20 plus years in a 3-year time period? I'm a little iffy on the timeline here. Actually, I'm not. That was just me being an asshole.
The whole hallucination thing pisses me off, because it's almost like it's doing what a prequel does, where it's answering questions I wasn't fucking asking. Okay, I don't care why Kid Jason was doing this. I really don't give a fuck. And so the fact that we have this whole thing in this movie in the first place really bugs me. This movie would be significantly better without it. I just want to point that out. Okay, my favorite part of this fucking movie, it's the only reason I would ever pop this movie on, is the Julius kill. And I know I just shit on them for trying to be funny haha earlier, and I know that this may not have been intentionally funny, but this kill is fucking great. And not even in a funny way. Like, for Jason Voorhees to punch somebody's head clean off is fucking cool, man. Like, that is a cool fucking kill to me. I love it. I think it's badass. Now, the effects aren't great. The head rolled down to the garbage, all that stuff, nah. But everything leading to the kill and the kill itself, I'm a giant fucking fan of. I love it. I think it's great. It's funny, and it's fucking badass. That's exactly what I want Jason Voorhees to be. Other than, the damn strangle kill earlier was the complete opposite of that. So I guess it's just taste at this point. And everything else here, like you said, the green ooze or whatever the fuck that looked like that shit that Ultimate Warrior had coming out of his head when he was, had voodoo on him back in the 80s. That's kind of what this shit looked like. Toxic waste or whatever. Just, and the police car stuff, I'm just so I'm so bleh on the whole thing. And I am trying to find positives. And I think I just gave a very sterling review of a kill from Jason Takes Manhattan. So I hate to even go any further, but I just feel like this movie I'm already in the mindset that I don't need this shit. And so everything after the Julius kill is just, I don't know, man. I just don't give a fuck. And so I have a couple more notes, but I almost stopped taking my notes because I know I'm just going to be negative. So I'm going to leave it on the positive note that good kill of the Julius kill, and everything else can go fuck itself. That's right, I said it.
Wow.
It's not good, man. I'm sorry.
This is the last two scenes. Rennie, Vince,
oh, thank you.
He's not sorry. He's not sorry.
Rennie, Vince, and Sean, that everyone she cares about, she loses. They kiss, but Jason interrupts. They run off and get on the subway. The subway takes off, and they see Jason is on board. They run off as he pursues. They they're cornered now on this subway, and Sean, he grabs the emergency brake and it knocks Jason down, and they escape. Sean knocks Jason onto the tracks and it electrocutes him. The two get to Times Square, and they start to like just look around and sightsee. Rennie turns around and we get the iconic look of Jason in Times Square. They run off and Jason kicks over the gang's boombox. He shows them his face and they run off. They run into the diner and try to call the cops. Jason barges in and throws the greatest Jason of all time, Ken Kersinger, into a mirror on the wall.
Jesus Christ.
What, did I say something wrong? Oh.
Go ahead.
God damn.
The two crawl into the sewer now. All right. Oh, God, I hate the sewer scene. The two crawl into the sewer now as Jason continues to stalk them. They run into a sewer worker. Toxic waste about to flood the sewer. He leads them to an exit, but Jason grabs him, killing him with a wrench off screen. She shines a flashlight on him as he goes to hit Sean with it. You didn't get me in the lake, and you're not going to get me now. She runs off and hides. She gets a bucket of toxic waste and throws it on Jason's face, and we see how horrible he looks. She gets Sean up, and they run off. Jason limps through the sewer and tries to kill Rennie down the ladder. She tries to pull Rennie down the ladder out of the sewer. The toxic waste floods and sweeps Jason away. Mommy, don't let me drown you here. Oh. Quick cuts of Jason drowning as a kid in his ugly face. When the waste washes away, little Jason is lying there for some reason. The two make it out of the sewer, and we see something approach them. It's Toby the dog, of course, but I wrote yay. I'm glad the dog lived. They walk off as the end music plays to Sights of the City. All right, that's the ending. And before you go, Dustin, I'll just go ahead and say, this is probably my favorite part of the movie until they get into the sewer. The sewer the sewer is awful.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So the scenes where they're on the subway, I thought that provided some cool shots, like them looking back and he's stalking them through the subway. I appreciated that. And then the scenes where Jason's walking through New York City and you get, like you said, the shot of him in Times Square with the iconic New York skyline behind him and everything. That's really cool. Really cool. But why wasn't he killing anyone else? Why was he just hell-bent on killing them? Because I get it. Jason's MO through the years has been he's going to kill the people at the camp. He's going to kill the counselors and those high school-age kids that's responsible in his mind for his demise. But, my God, he could have killed so many people in Times Square. Walking by the street thugs there and kicking their boombox. I thought that was hilarious. Like their music's playing, he just punks the shit out of it. But then they say some threats and some harsh words towards him, and instead of turning around and dealing with them, he turns around and takes his mask off. What the fuck is that about? Like, I could have done without that. Like, either ignore them or go back and kill at least one of them. That would have been more satisfying than him just raising his mask and then scaring them and walking away. That was lame. And then the shot where they're in the sewers, she throws the shit on him, and you get a look at his face, was awful. That was some of the worst makeup and visual effects that I can remember in any horror movie, not just a Jason movie. That sucked out loud. And I just didn't need it. And then all of a sudden you get the scene where the waste is going to revert him back to childhood. What the fuck? What is going on? I'm so confused at this point. So to me, the way you write this movie is, the way you finish this movie up to where it's more satisfying is maybe he stalks them through the streets of New York and you get the iconic shots because you clearly wanted that to let them know, hey, we made it to Manhattan. So he goes through the scenes, and to get away from him, instead of going to the sewer, then they get on the subway, and then they electrocute him, and maybe that's where it ends. And then as they get, they're leaving the subway, the dog catches up with them, so you get the happy ending. You don't need the sewer scene. That's bullshit. You don't even need the subway. You don't need the diner scene. Save the subway scene for after he's walked through Times Square. Tie a bow on it. Get us out of here without the ridiculous shots of his face makeup. And I think you save maybe 5 to 7 minutes of the runtime, which this movie is 100 minutes. It's the longest of any Jason movie. So you save 5 to 7 minutes, which is going to help there. And it's more satisfying because you don't confuse the shit out of everyone with this magic ooze that's going to turn him back into a child. I love this movie. Go ahead.
Well, you brought up a good point because there's a lot of good aspects of this movie if it wasn't a Friday the 13th Jason movie. And, things like that, like him going, through Times Square or whatever. I mean, like, you know, all right, let me just start at the beginning with the subway scene. I mean, you could definitely tell the budget restraints because this is the first time we actually get to actually see people in New York City. More than just the two muggers or whatever. And, you know, and we get to see the iconic poster image of him in Times Square. And I know Kane said it was his favorite scene, but I disagree with my co-host here on this one because I'm not a fan at all of the New York setting. Because like I said, I just it's not Friday the 13th and Jason for me. Now, if this was any other type of movie, it might have just been a cheesy little B horror movie from the 80s that would have a cult following for sure. But this is just to me it's like it's out of place. It's like the Lost World where T-Rex is in. I think it was San Diego like type vibes. Like it gives you some good shots, but it's just weird to me in this movie. It just kind of stands. I don't know. It's just it's not Jason and Friday the 13th to me. By the way, holy shit, I wrote down that the girl at the diner looks exactly like Natasha Lyonne from American Pie, by the way. And, then obviously, bam, we get the cook, played by, King Kirzinger, who we just had on the show as well, by the way. So you can listen to that at don'tgoouthere.com. And we get a little Jason on Jason crime, which, I mean, they didn't know that at the time, but like that actually made this movie now a little bit tiniest bit like better now knowing that. Which, okay, I actually, just a little tangent, I guess, but I know Ken is Nico's favorite Jason, and that's fine, but you never really know at all, like, how much bigger Ken is until he's, like, next to Kane in this shot. So I was like, holy shit. So I understand why Ronnie Yu went with Ken for Freddy vs. Jason, but, obviously I think that they should have made that Jason more full of rage like Kane's Jason is, and I might have liked him a little bit together. And I'm not even going to get into his look. That's been well documented on that episode that you can also hear at don'tgoouthere.com. But, back to the shit show finale. We get the manhole opening up to the sewer systems, and it's just so happens that they flush toxic freaking waste through it every single night. Okay. But this is where I wrote, and Dustin, I told you that I was like, where are the Ninja Turtles here? And, the face that Rennie makes when Jason like teleports onto screen and takes the worker away for like an off-screen kill, she's just like, oh, okay. Like it's just she just has like no reaction. It's just okay, like what the fuck. And you brought it up too, but speaking of fucking Ninja Turtles, they literally didn't have any of the prosthetics or any of the mask or the makeup or anything laying around from any of the other times that they have demasked Jason, because this is what we get. Because he looks like Kermit from the fucking Muppets in this scene. It looks ridiculous. Fun fact: Kane vomited on cue after drinking several pitchers of water. That was not a special effect. But lastly, them turning Jason into a kid, a totally fine, not deformed Jason child, by the way, at all. I mean, fuck. Okay, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So the subway scene does absolutely nothing for me, and I get that there is some like cool shots in there, with them stalking him, but to me, while I'm watching it, I just feel like it takes too fucking long. Okay. Now, to counter that, I agree with my other co-host, not named Brian here. The shots of Jason Voorhees in New York City are fucking good. They're good. Yeah. I love that aesthetic. I think it works for Jason. I know that makes no sense because he's from Camp Crystal Lake or whatever, but I'm a fan. I think they're well done, and that iconic. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat the picture you guys have as the background there. I will say that. That is a cool shot from this film, and it works for me, and it is iconic, so I will give you that. This movie birthed that. I just wish it was a better fucking movie. That's all. And I agree with Nico. The sewer scene kind of ruins the ending because I will say, up to that point, there's some fun stuff here. Like kicking the boombox is funny. I do wish we could have seen a massacre in Times Square. Obviously, that's budget reasons, I don't think, or, incompetent writing or a combo of both. But I think if this movie had a higher budget and you got just a massacre of fucking Jason Voorhees in downtown New York City, that would have been some cool shit. Just a bloody met, that would have been some really cool shit, but you don't get that. You get He scares people off by taking his mask. He kicks the guy's boombox, which is fucking funny, like Dustin said. But it just, I don't know, it doesn't hit for me. And how they kill off Jason, I just don't care about him turning back to Kid Jason and this fucking green ooze that's like the goddamn side of the dumpster stuff from SpongeBob SquarePants that they write the cuss words in. That's what that looks like. I just don't get it, man. Like it's just dog shit. I'm sorry. It pisses me off because I know, we give each other hell on this show about Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, but y'all do got to understand I have special interest in protecting the character of Jason Voorhees the same way I do Michael Myers. There's a reason the 3 motherfuckers are our logos, okay? And we shit on the bad Freddy movies and we shit on the bad Jason movies, and it's time that I had to do this to Jason because how they handle him here just pisses me off. And I'm not blaming Kane because I think the portrayal, even at the end, is good. And that's pretty cool that he can, throw up on command with all that water. Like that's fine. But whoever did the effects, man, we're a long way from Tom Savini here, man. That looked like goddamn Sesame Street, dude.
That's
it is
very
not,
true. Very
it
true.
It is not good. It's awful. It makes me angry that this was the end of the Paramount part of the Friday the 13th franchise, and that's not to say New Line did great, kind of like Brian said. Although I will take Jason Goes to Hell over this movie any fucking day.
Oh, not me. Anyway,
one has my man Duke, and the other one doesn't. So there's that. Creighton Duke, love you, buddy. Shout out.
Do y'all got any final thoughts before we jump into some fan questions?
No.
Hey, I just want to apologize to all the Jason Takes Manhattan fans. It's not personal.
Don't apologize now because you still got to do a rating.
I just wanted a better movie, is all.
All three of you out there, he apologizes to all three of you.
Two of them are me and Nico.
Exactly.
Hey, Dustin, the other 2 Jason Goes to Hell fans are the other 2 co-hosts.
Yeah,
Right.
You're right about that. That's very true. And hey, man, I'm only apologizing because normally I like to remain professional. I don't like to just totally go negative. I even was positive about Audition, and that is a dog shit film. But I couldn't do it here, man. This movie, I'm almost too emotionally invested to put it aside, take real notes about the cinematography and the acting and the way it's shot. God, it makes me so mad.
My final thoughts on the movie are this. I think that if they would have named it anything else other than Jason Takes Manhattan, because that sets too much of an expectation of this movie is going to take place in New York. I think if the final 15 minutes are in New York, but we don't have the expectation going in that the whole movie's taking place in New York, then you go into it with tempered expectations and you grade it on a different scale than what you do going in knowing the title. Second of all, I think that I would have loved to have seen Rob Hedden's original idea for this movie. I mean, the budget really fucked him on this movie because
absolutely.
This movie, most of the movie was supposed to take place in New York, but they said, no, we're not springing for that. So they had to film most of the movie in Vancouver because it was so much cheaper, and they only got what they got in New York. The original movie that he wrote was over 2 hours long. He trimmed out several scenes to make it 100 minutes, which is too long, but I'm wondering how much of that extra 20 minutes would have been in New York, would have provided a better storyline. Had Laura Park Lincoln signed back on, like we said earlier, what would the storyline even be? So I think that the biggest injustice that they served themselves was calling it what they called it. If you call it anything else, Jason Takes an Excursion. Anything. Jason Part 8 or Friday the 13th Part 8 Lazarus, because that's the name of the boat, and it makes sense because in biblical, Lazarus came back alive. Jason came back alive in this movie. So call it anything else other than Jason Takes Manhattan because it's misleading. So you set the viewer up for disappointment from the jump. That's the biggest flaw.
Well, and you know what?
We just nitpicked. Aside from the nitpicks and the bullshit that we all just defecated upon for this movie, the biggest flaw was the title. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I mean, I think it's bullshit. I mean, fuck Paramount, because you know what? Even if you didn't give it the budget, you didn't give this character the care, the love, everything that is gone into this for 7 movies that you built this character up, and you went into this saying, okay, this is going to be the last one.
Yeah.
I don't think they sold it just because of how poorly it did, but you went into this saying this is going to be the last one, and this is how you ended it. Like, say what you want about Jason Goes to Hell, but the ending of that is probably the best of the entire series and the franchise. Like having the fucking mask laying and Freddy's glove coming up and grabbing it out, like just something like I don't know, the Kermit fucking toxic waste. Even if it was a good effect, it just was just a shitty way, I think, for him to go out. I mean, it's not just Paramount shit. We shit all over Freddy's Dead in the rankings too, and New Line did the same fucking thing with them. So I don't know. It's just these execs and these studios. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with these characters.
Hey, don't worry.
But-
Wait till we review Halloween 5, and I say the same thing. Go ahead.
But going off what you just said about how Jason Goes to Hell had one of the coolest endings, yeah, but they still screwed the pooch on that by making us go to outer space before Freddy vs.
Yeah.
Jason came out.
Oh yeah,
So
fuck that. Yeah, that was.
They dropped the ball there.
There's
So,
a reason why that's my least favorite one.
Yep.
We've kind of touched on this all night, but we got 2 Facebook questions. Sean Irwin asked, what would have been a more accurate name for this movie? And as soon as I saw he posted that, all I replied was, oh boy, with a laughing emoji. Basically anything but Jason Takes Manhattan. I mean,
I'll say, yeah.
I actually like Jason Resurrected. I mean, you've kind of used all these, Jason Lives, Final Chapter, New Blood. Just don't bring up a city in it. You know what I mean? It's very misleading, even if the shot is cool looking. Does
Yeah, it
anybody else
sounds-
have a?
Yeah, it
Go
sounds
ahead.
like an episode of like some cartoon or something. Like
Yeah.
Jason goes to Manhattan today, like Clifford the Big Red Dog or some bullshit. I don't know, but it's like,
Goddamn
uh,
Dr. Seuss book.
but I think
Jason the City Slicker.
Yeah, there exactly. City Slickers 1 and 2. He what Dustin said with the Lazarus name, I think would have been a good name for it. But like if you were being realistic, just Friday the 13th Part 8, we don't know what the hell we're doing would have been a much more accurate title, at least for Paramount.
Yeah, I'll go with Friday the 13th Part 8, Lazarus. Because you don't know what that means going into the film. And then when you see he comes back alive and then you see the boat's named Lazarus, okay, the boat's going to be a major part of this movie, probably most of the movie. I think that tempers expectations, and you can build off of that.
Outside of Jason Takes a Boat Ride, because how original. Friday the 13th, Part 8, the places he will go, because this is a goddamn Dr. Seuss book.
All right, we got one more, and this is from Michelle Mirza. She asks, do you think Kane Hodder is the ultimate Jason, or are there others you like better? And I commented, and I said, I'll halfway answer this, because I think we plan on doing a Jason actor ranking down the road. Kane is not my personal favorite portrayal of Jason. I will say Kane loves the portrayal or the role of Jason the most, I think, but I don't find his portrayal my favorite. But he does love the character the most.
Yeah, I gotta say he is. The fact that he's just so iconic in the role, the way that he carries himself, the fact that he was been Jason the most. To me, he's the best.
Yeah, I agree. To me, Kane is the best because I love the rage he brings to the character. Like when I think of Jason or Friday the 13th, like his portrayal of Jason is what I think about. The head nods, the breathing, all of that stuff he brought to that character. So is the short answer to your question.
He might not be my favorite portrayal, but I still consider him Jason Voorhees. When I think of the character Jason Voorhees, I think of Kane Hodder. So I'm going to have to go yes.
That's fair. That Jason actor rank will be fun down the road. We're just going to jump into fun facts real quick. Kane Hodder says that one of the most fun parts of his tenure as Jason these are all from IMDb, were the scenes in Times Square, which he told us in his interview. He says that spectators were lined up and down the block watching the filming. and he didn't want to take off the mask to destroy their illusion of Jason. He said that every once in a while he'd turn his head and look at them and watch them all go crazy. Many of the
Hey Nico, where can they
yeah.
where can they find that can they find that interview?
You tell them, brother.
Don'tgooutthere.com.
Many of the actors pointed out to themselves a plot hole early in the filming of the movie. They wondered how the ship got out of Crystal Lake and into the Atlantic Ocean. Since most of them were just happy to be in the film, they didn't bring it up to the producers or director. Of the female leads, all the girls are supposed to be graduated from high school. Only Jensen Daggett was one of the few actresses who was actually a teenager and was 19 years old at the time of shooting. Most of the cast had a Friday the 13th marathon and watched parts 1 through 7 the day prior to shooting. They were intent on making part 8, in quotations, the best one.
Oh.
The scene in which Jason kills Eva in the scene in which Jason kills Eva in the disco took over 14 hours to complete. And I already mentioned this earlier. Writer and director Rob Hedden wanted to portray Jason Voorhees as more of a supernatural spiritual entity rather than just a walking corpse. Rennie's visions were more than just her own hallucinations because her dog Toby saw one of them earlier on in the film. And I just want to touch on something Dustin said earlier. Yeah, the budget was a problem, but play it. You wrote a stupid plot, side plot. You could have left that out for free, brother. But if anybody else has fun facts, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have 3 of them. Being such a big Saved by the Bell fan, I thought it was pretty cool that Elizabeth Berkley of Saved by the Bell fame, who played Jessie Spano, actually auditioned for the role of Rennie. Obviously didn't get it. Rennie had all those problems with nudity and denied it and didn't do it. Guess what? Elizabeth Berkley, Showgirls, she would have done it, no doubt.
Call me sometime, Rennie.
Due to this kind of says all you need to say about this movie to me. Due to negative feedback from the fans and Rob Hedden himself, as the film wasn't what he wanted it to be, he has repeatedly apologized to any fans that were disappointed by the film in the Blu-ray and DVD commentary, and has since disowned the film himself. Mm-hmm. And this is the only film to have a blooper reel, which speaks to itself.
Well, it's still his fault how he wrote some of it, so he can't just say I don't own up to it when you wrote a lot of it. But go ahead, Dustin, if you got any fun facts.
I kind of said mine as we go. Fun fact, I am going to enjoy whooping Mike's ass over this. So go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Money Mike, go ahead, brother.
All right. So this movie had a $5 million budget and made $14.3 million. So it made its money back. But it didn't make dog shit. I believe it's the lowest grossing in the franchise. Please continue.
Yes.
All right, let's jump into the moment we've all been waiting for. Favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Mike, you said, did you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll get mine out of the way, and I'll be quick since I've already done enough negativity here. My least favorite kill is... my least favorite kill, and by the way, the character's name is slipping me, but the damn guitar kill is awful. It's dog shit. I hate every part of it. JJ. Not a damn bit of it's good. It sucks. It makes no sense. Stupid.
Yeah, JJ.
So, thank you. That kill sucks. My favorite is Julius, obviously. The boxing kill. Love that kill. Runner-up would be the mirror. I do enjoy the mirror. So, all in all, obviously I don't like this film. I did the best I could to find some positives. I think I found some at least. I try not to offend my co-host and the fans of the fan or two of this movie that there are. And I don't like to offend. I don't want to offend Kane Hodder himself because I know he put his all into being Jason. And again, it's not his portrayal that bugs me. So that's probably the least problematic thing about this movie. But I just don't like it. It's not enjoyable to me. It's painstaking to watch it. When I watched it this last time, I watched it on 1.5 speed. I know I already said that, but I wanted to hammer that home. I own this movie, unfortunately. It's one of the more dumb purchases I've ever made. It is not good. I hope I never have to see it again unless it's in a Friday the 13th marathon, which I don't plan on doing anytime soon. And if I did, it'd be too soon. So I'm going to give this movie a 2.5. It's one of my least favorite horror movies of all time. And I just think it sucks. There's not anything I like about it. other than the Julius kill.
All right, I'll go next. And I actually thought you were going to say a 2, so I'm actually surprised you said the 0.5 part.
A 0.5 is just for you, brother.
Hey, like I said, I don't take offense to nobody's ratings. That's everyone's opinion. My favorite kill, I had a tie between The Rock and the sauna and Tamara. Those are my 2 favorite kills. The Rock one was just the most, fuck, that looks painful. And it was kind of unique, too. And Tamara, I agree with y'all. Tamara, she acted her butt off in that kill. You really felt her emotion. My least favorite kill was the off-screen boat worker that JJ finds. It's off-screen, so that one wins to me. All right, rating. Dustin, I'm going to be your only hope of saving this thing because so I gave this rating the same score, and I know it's going to sound blasphemous to a lot of people. I gave it the same rating as I gave Final Destination, Scream 2. I gave it a 6.5, and that's just because I would rather watch this than those. I fully admit those 2 movies are shot better, written better. They're better movies, but I get more enjoyability. I like Jason more than Final Destination. I like Jason more than whatever that goofball was who was Ghostface and the mom. After taking notes and critically reviewing, I have more flaws and dislike, but I still find the film enjoyable. And his biggest positive is it's different. I love seeing Jason on the subway, Times Square, in a restaurant, etc. I like but don't love the opening scene. I don't hate Jason's time on the boat, and I think the kills are pretty decent. I hate Rennie seeing Kid Jason throughout the film. You have to suspend a shit ton of belief in this. Also, just kind of meh on Jason's look. His arms and head look too human and grayish. They have too much of a grayish tone to me. I do love that we get a cameo from the best Jason actor of all time, Ken Kersinger. Go ahead, Brian.
Jesus Christ.
I say something wrong?
I feel like I just had deja vu there.
Right.
Okay, so my favorite kill is actually, like, from a laughter type standpoint, was Julius, but I really liked the sauna kill. Like I mentioned earlier, I like the effects on that. I don't really have a least favorite kill because honestly, I have a lot of least favorite kills in this. It was pretty much all of them that were off screen, and almost all of them, due to budgetary reasons, were off screen. So I don't really have a particular one there. They tried to change the Friday the 13th template, I know, and, I give them credit for that, but I don't think they did a good job of it. I think it turned out to be dog shit. Have the boat if you want. Have them maybe escape the boat in a rowboat in the rain and remain completely dry, going to Crystal Lake maybe, and have it in there. Just not in New York to me. I don't know. This movie was a complete mess, and I actually rated it a 3.5.
Okay. All right. Well, man, I'm a little befuddled right now. So for my favorite kill, I'm gonna go with Julius as well, just because like I said, the character, that's the actual character development we got in the movie, was him with his background being a boxer, undefeated, blah blah blah, and he got his punches in, and then just the fact that Jason just punched his head off was pretty awesome. Least favorite kill, I've got 2 actually. One I'm going to give to the guy being thrown into the circuit board and it just completely combusting and burning the whole damn ship. That was stupid to me. But the one that trumps it, and that's the worst kill, that you may not count it as a kill, but IMDb does, James does, everywhere you look on the internet, it's gonna count it as a kill. The bartender, aka Ken Kersinger, you're going to tell me that someone that's bigger than Jason in this film and more muscular and it just looks to be a badass is going to get thrown into a mirror, and that's going to kill him. It's not believable. So to me, the off-screen deaths are so much better than this one, because at least off-screen, you can use your imagination. How did he kill him? He could have done it a number of ways. He tosses this guy, and it kills him. Get the fuck out of here with that. As far as my rating, I'm going to go with a 5. And that's low for me, but I've said it before. The score to me doesn't always dictate, like you said, Nico, it doesn't dictate enjoyability. So when I score this, I'm scoring on how good of a movie is, and 5's probably generous. I'm grading it on a curve because I am such a Jason fan. But
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
So for it to be a 5, there are still some things that I like about the movie. I'm not going to avoid this movie if it's on. There's certainly things that I nitpicked. We've all just went through an hour plus of doing that. One of the things I'm not going to nitpick, though, is Jason's look with the mask on in this movie. The mask off look is stupid, and I hate it. But I don't mind how his skin's
horrible.
Horrible. I don't mind how his skin's gray. I don't mind how soggy he is the entire movie because, like I said, he's been in the water for over a year at this point. And so he's going to be a little waterlogged. Plus, it's raining the whole damn movie, so he's not going to dry out, really. So I don't have a problem with any of that. Overall, our composite score is sitting at a flat 4. So,
Okay.
Not the worst movie, but pretty damn bad. And remember, if you want to watch this movie, you can catch it on Sci-Fi September the 2nd, 2020, 4 a.m. Set your DVRs. Listen to this after you watch it. Chime in on social media. Tune in to don'tgooutthere.com and drop some comments. Let us know what you think on all of our social medias and listen to our interviews with the great Kane Hodder. And yeah,
He's great. He's great.
That's all I got to say about that.
And my mind just went blank. I was going to say, oh, yeah, okay. And since Mike had to leave a little early, this movie is better than Audition. Don't listen to that. That's ridiculous. Audition was literally what I would – if you looked up the definition, god-awful, Audition's cover was right beside it.
No doubt. I ranked it a 1.
Does anybody else? I ranked it a 2, but bumped it up to a 3 for no reason. If I could take that point back, I would. Anybody got any final thoughts before Brian announces his pick next week?
I do not.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean, this movie had budget issues. I get it. But writer, director, you had some writer issues too. Go ahead, Brian, and announce your pick.
So my pick, I'm kind of going off the grid like I have on, honestly, the majority of my picks. We were doing Cabin in the Woods a couple of weeks ago, and there were some parts of it that reminded me of the Belko Experiment. And I was like, hell, you know what? I want to watch that movie again. I want to rate it. There were actually some parts that I haven't seen it, but one time when it first came out. And so there are some parts that back then, and I think it had to do with the state America was in back then, and just some different things that really, honestly, like bothered me a little bit. So, you know what? Let's do it. I think that the Belko Experiment will be a good one for us to review.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate the support, everyone. It truly is a great feeling to know that you all love the show so much. Dustin, you stood in the paint. I stood there with you. I totally understand people hating this movie. I really do. And I really don't. It's really kind of hard for me to justify this movie being that great, honestly. But I just enjoy it. It's just some people, everyone has that one movie that stinks, but you just like it. But that's
exactly.
Anywho, really appreciate the support, y'all, and we'll be back next week with Brian's pick, the Belko Experiment. Just want to remind everybody.